What up, bitches? Welcome back to Law of Attraction Changed My Life. I'm your host, Francesca Amber, and today I'm joined by Tanya Ferrari from Manifesting Baby, who I actually met at Manifest in Newcastle, YIPET. And as soon as I saw her business and her brand, I was absolutely intrigued because manifesting fertility, pregnancies, babies is something that I love to share, I love to talk about, but kind of needs to be done in quite a sensitive way. And so what better than to have a fucking expert here, eh? So welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to have you here. And also because we do share kind of similar stories, don't we? So you had endometriosis and I was diagnosed with polycystic ovaries, both of which give you a diminished chance of fertility. Yeah. So tell me your story with endometriosis. What was your fertility journey?
Yeah, so I got diagnosed with endometriosis, I think I was about 26. And to be diagnosed with endometriosis, you have to have surgery, unfortunately. Always suffered with really painful periods, had surgery. And when I woke up from surgery, you know, off my nut on anaesthetic, the surgeon basically said to me, "You've got it bad." Like,
so wait, the surgery doesn't fix it? That's just
yeah, so they can, but what they did with me was just diagnostic. Just went in, had a look, and then said, "You've got it bad, and you will really struggle to conceive." He actually said, if you'd have left it an extra month, you would be infertile completely.
Wow.
Now, I've then been told by other surgeons that that's impossible to give that kind of timeline. But still, he'd said, you're going to struggle to conceive. But at the time, I wasn't even thinking. I was with my partner, but I wasn't even thinking about having a baby. So it didn't really weigh on me that heavy at that point. Went on with my life. And then it was when we then went to try and conceive, and it didn't happen. I then remembered what he'd said. And then that was it. That was my biggest limiting belief on my fertility journey. You will struggle to conceive. And that's what I had to work to overcome.
And so what a horrible thing to hear in your mid-20s, because I'm trying to remember the timeline of my polycystic ovaries, but I, like you, was like, I don't give a shit about my fertility. Like, I don't really care. I don't want a baby.
Yeah.
And I had taken the pill for years and I actually stopped it and didn't ever get my period back. And it was only when I met my ex-husband that I just mentioned one day, I was like, how funny, I haven't had a period for like a year. And he's like a ultra planner, ultra paranoid about everything. And he was like, you need to go to the doctors. And I went, did all the scans and everything. And they were like, you've got polycystic ovaries. Like, you have not had a period for a year. If you don't have a period, you're very unlikely to be able to have a baby. You're going to have to like have hormone treatment to help you. And I was just like floored because I just met this man that I thought, I want to spend the rest of my life with this person. I want to have children. It's absolutely terrifying. And I think having a baby is one of those things that if you want to work out and become super fit, you can go to the gym and you can do it. And you're like, oh, okay, I've done it. If you want to train and become a barrister, you can go and you can work really hard at it. But sometimes I think fertility feels like for women, like it's not something you can work hard at. It's something, it's probably what the first thing in your adult life that you've had to kind of just completely surrender and be like, I can't work my way out of this.
Yeah.
Unless you work on your mindset. So how did this come about, Manifesting Baby? How did this whole brand come about?
I think because of my journey and then how much I then relied on the law of attraction and manifestation and mindset once I discovered it on my journey.
At what point was that you discovered that?
About a year and a half in. So it took us 3 years in total to finally have our daughter, which was still with IVF. But about a year and a half in, I was like in the trenches, like this is just, I can't cope anymore. And it's the control element. I'm a control freak. You can't control it. I've controlled everything else in my life, couldn't control that. And no one knew that we were trying for a baby. So it was me, my partner obviously knew, and my best friend Emma. And that was it. And I remember I messaged Emma and I was like, I can't do this. This is a joke. I can't believe this is happening to me. And she was like, why don't we watch The Secret? We've heard people talk about The Secret. And it was on Netflix, I think, at that time.
Big up Emma.
Yeah.
Big up fucking Emma.
Everyone needs an Emma.
What a move.
I know.
Everyone needs a friend like, let's watch The Secret.
Yeah.
That'll solve it.
But neither of us had watched it, but we'd heard about it.
Oh.
And it was on Netflix at the time. And this was in lockdown. So we put it on in our separate houses, message each other and we're like, what have we just watched? That has blown my mind. And then I discovered your podcast really shortly after that. So your podcast was really new. And so I started then really digging into this and I was like, oh my, and I just felt instantly lighter. I was still going through shit because you're still going through it, but I felt lighter. I had this kind of hope that I didn't have before. And so after I went through everything, I was like, do you know what? I need to help other women. This is what I looked for when I was on the journey. I wanted someone who'd specifically been through what I'd been through, got the happy ending, and used manifestation and mindset as a tool. So I was like, I need to do this. There's people out there who need my help. And so that's why I'm here. That's why I did it.
And it is. I remember when I first met you, I said to you, I'm so happy you're doing this, but it's something that I tread nervously around because it's so triggering for some people to say, oh, I manifested my baby.
Yeah.
Like, especially for people going through fertility issues, it can be so triggering. I've had a lady on my podcast. I don't remember her name. She's from Ireland.
I remember the episode.
The most infertile woman in
Yeah.
Ireland.
Yeah.
She'd had something like 30 IVFs or something. She'd had insane. And then, in lockdown, she got into the law of attraction, started reading all the books and became pregnant. And she didn't know until she was like 9 months pregnant. She had 2 weeks notice until she gave birth. Like, it's insane. And I think it's really difficult because we do have to be I feel like I have to be so careful to say, like, you don't want to make it just sound so easy. But there's also the flip side of it that's like, your mindset can absolutely help with everything. And we're going to delve later into this episode into how your mindset and your thoughts directly impact your body chemistry, including your fertility. So I'm excited to get to that. But something else that you and I have in common is we both manifested our Christmas baby reveals, didn't we?
Yeah.
And I want to just kind of give people a little bit more background on our individual stories of manifesting our babies, just so people can see how it looks in real life. So can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so when I finally got to the manifestation part of my fertility journey, there's so much stuff that I did. I mean, I've got lists and lists of the stuff I did, but I always knew I wanted a girl. And in my head, I thought, if I only have... Yeah, I'm not a Marvel mum.
No, I'm not a football mum.
No.
Unless she's a lesbian. I'm not a football mum.
A lioness, yeah. I always knew that, if I'm going to only have one child, which maybe I will, I need a girl. I want a girl that's always by my side. So I sent myself a postcard. I can't remember when, but way before I even had my IVF scheduled. Sent myself a postcard. God knows what the postman thought when he read the back. And on one side I had Amaya, which was the name I always had in my head that I want to call my daughter. So I had the name, I had a positive pregnancy test picture, and all pink. And then on the back I had my mantra that I was living by. Sent myself that, put it next to my bedside table, and that was just there. And I looked at it every morning, every evening.
Can I just ask, why did you send it to yourself?
Well, I don't know.
Was it just like receiving
it was like a receiving thing through, and you're putting it down as if it's actual factual thing, Right. And so I sent it to myself. I think it is that, receiving it.
Yeah.
I also wrote a letter to myself, the year before, and I wrote it that I have to read in a year's time. And in there I wrote,
love that,
holding my baby bump. I've just done my Christmas reveal. It was incredible, and I wrote all of that kind of stuff. There was so much, but I think manifesting the time, I knew that I was going to do a Christmas reveal. I just had it in my head, and I didn't know when my IVF was going to be scheduled. And it just so turned out that I managed to get a cycle in the September, which meant that I would then be pregnant for December. I would be 12 weeks by December. So it all just unraveled. And any time I then came across any little block, I just reminded myself, everything's aligned up until this point.
Yeah.
You are getting what you asked for, so it is all going to be okay. And that was a real big reassurance for me.
I think when you're manifesting, when you start to see things falling together, it just helps your belief, doesn't it? Like you say, like you wanted that particular time frame. It was your first round of IVF, which that doesn't happen for many people. I don't know the statistics on that, but I know it doesn't happen for a lot of people on the first time. So I had the same. I found it really difficult because I'd never openly said I wanted children. And in fact, during the time that me and my husband were trying, I hate that, trying, because then people just visualise your husband fucking doggy styling you. It's just disgusting. And I'm divorced, so it's extra disgusting. But we didn't tell anyone. Well, actually, that fucker did tell people, and I was fuming because I felt like as soon as people know, it's that stress of like,
are you drinking?
Are you pregnant?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
I know.
Stop asking me. And also, like, a month to them seems like a long time, but you're like, there's one chance every month. Like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
He told people I was fuming. I didn't tell anyone. And I remember I'd been through this whole, you've got polycystic ovaries, you haven't had a period for over a year, like, we're going to have to just wait and see if your period comes, all this kind of stuff. And I remember going and visiting my sister in Lincolnshire, and she was like, I just don't think you are ever going to have children. I think you're just going to carry on living in London, and you'll have your flat and you'll have your dog. And I just remember thinking, like, fuck off. Firstly, fuck off. But also, like, I felt like I couldn't say, well, actually, I've got fucking polycystic ovaries. I haven't had a period for a year. The timelines of it all now are a little bit jumbled in my mind. But yeah, like, that was kind of the vibe it was going on. And I really wanted to manifest a baby for this whole Christmas reveal. My idea was I wanted to give all my family Christmas cards and film them. And at the time, I was really into filming everything, as I still am. And so it wouldn't have been weird for me to be filming them, like opening a Christmas card. It's quite normal. And I remember I was working as a lash technician in London, and it was probably like, I don't know, they start playing Christmas songs quite early, don't they? Like October. And I was sitting there and I was about to do someone's lashes, and she wasn't really a talker. So I was like, okay, she's not a talker. I'm just going to get to like sit. And on the radio came Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You. And I was like, I really need to manifest, like visualize this baby coming and like announcing it at Christmas. And as I did, this thing came up for me, which was like, you're a slag. Yeah. I was 30 or maybe 29 or 30. I was married. I'd been married for 2 years. And what came up for me is, if you tell your family you're pregnant, you're a slag and you're a teenage mum. And I was like, I'm nearly fucking 30. Yeah. But isn't that interesting? Yeah. That was when I actually had the time to sit there and I was just methodically doing these lashes. I was like, how interesting. And I spent that 1.5 hour appointment literally working through everything in my mind. And I was just like, you're not a slag. You're literally married. You've been married for 2 years. You've been trying for a baby. You're nearly 30. You're not a teen mum. Yeah. And it took 1.5 hours to work through it in my mind. And literally a week later, I found out I was pregnant. And we had our whole Christmas reveal. And I was just like, how wild that it wasn't until I sat there. So I guess I would ask people listening, if you are experiencing fertility, is like, actually sit and ask yourself, like, imagine announcing your pregnancy now. Are you concerned that your partner is maybe not the same religion as your family and you're worried about what they'll say? Are you worried that maybe you're dating a toy boy and you're worried that you're trapping him? Who knows? There could be any number of things. You could think you're a slag. You could think you're a teenage mum. Is there something there? Because honestly, I think until you look at that, you don't realise there's a limiting belief there. Yeah. So have you heard of anything like that? Or did you have any limiting beliefs yourself, do you think?
Oh, God, yeah. So many limiting beliefs. I thought, because prior to all of this, I also thought maybe I won't have kids. I loved my life, loved travelling. And so I actually sometimes actively said, I don't want kids. And I then at times thought, I've cursed myself. I've put some kind of curse on myself now. And the universe has heard that and is like, all right, then I won't give you a kid. And I genuinely believe that. Then I had the whole you will struggle in my head, and that, you know, I'm never going to be able to give a child to my partner. There were so many big things in my head. I think also it was the craziest thing for me was I didn't obviously tell anyone I was trying. My sister then came round Christmas Day, pregnant. Oh, she didn't know that I was obviously trying it. We'd only been trying for a couple of months at this point. Worst Christmas. Because I was then sat and I had to be happy. And I was happy, but it's that conflict of, why is it not me? And I couldn't obviously tell her anything. And then a couple of months later, they then said they wanted to call their daughter Amaya.
What? Sorry.
So I then said, what? But this is not, my sister didn't realise she had baby brain.
Why did she both didn't want that name? Well, this is what, because it's not like the Olivia.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
But also, they forgot that I had said that was a name I was going to have for my daughter. And I remember, a bit similar to you with what your sister said, my mum saying, I said, oh, but that's my daughter's name. And my mum said, you can't really claim a name and you don't even know if you'll have a child or a girl. I was like, I will. Do not block that in the universe. Yeah. And that made me really angry because I thought, I can't tell you why that's really hurt me now. They didn't obviously choose Amaya and, you know, but I remember feeling like you guys are all putting those things in my head now that it might not happen and I don't need that energy. Yeah. I need support. But how can you support me if you don't even know?
Did they know you were having IVF or no?
No.
Or you didn't know at that point either?
I didn't know that I was having IVF, but even when I went through IVF, didn't tell them.
What?
I did not want that pressure.
I agree. Actually, I sounded shocked, but I agree. I would do exactly the same. I wouldn't tell anyone.
It was hard. And don't get me wrong, I sometimes wish that I did have them there, especially the times that my partner wasn't there and I had to inject myself. And I thought I could really do it with my mum right now. But I thought, I've been through 3 years of this. I deserve that reveal moment of shock on their faces when I say I'm pregnant. And if they know I'm going through IVF, it's not going to be as big a shock. I want that big, I'm pregnant, and they're all, you know,
so they didn't know you were trying at all? And no. Did they know now that you had IVF?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I told them as soon as it happened, I told them, just so you know, it was IVF. And they were all just, okay, cool. You know, they didn't really go into the kind of pity party. And that's a big reason I didn't tell people. I am heavily affected by people's opinions. I really am. It's like my biggest thing that I try and work on even now. I didn't want people judging. I didn't want people, like you said, watching you. Oh, are you drinking? Oh, it's another month. She hasn't told us. And I didn't want the pity and the sympathy. And I didn't want any of that. And so I'm proud of myself that I just kind of stuck with my guns and I just wrote it out by myself with Emma. But yeah, it was tough. It was tough.
Savage. So you say on your website that your mindset can directly and physically affect our body's chemistry and reproductive system.
Yeah.
Fucking tell me more. Tell us all more.
I mean, in a kind of nutshell, we know there's a mind-body connection, right? And I think sometimes people think your thoughts are just in your mind and floating around and don't impact us. And we know they do. We can feel it when we get the sweaty palms and the butterflies. But also, they're directly affecting our hormones. So if we're in a constant state of stress, and when you're on a fertility journey, you're stressed.
Yeah.
You're in that state of chronic stress and anxiety and nervousness. Your adrenaline and cortisol levels are going to go up. And they directly have an impact on your reproductive hormones. They're not going to be the best environment for you to be able to have implantation, right? And your body is always going to protect you over creating new life.
Right. So from an evolution perspective, your body wouldn't allow you to get pregnant and get slowed down and get killed because you're in a stressful situation. Like, it's not a place for you to be.
That fight or flight. And obviously there's always exceptions. You know, there's people who get pregnant in extremely stressful situations and have the baby and it's fine. There's always exceptions. But living by the optimum thing that we should be doing, it is reducing that. Obviously, you're always going to get those people who are like, oh, if you stop trying, it will happen. And if you're too stressed and you're like, well, thanks a fucking lot, Sandra. Didn't think of that. I'll just stop being stressed. And you can't, it's really hard. But there is also truth to it because we know that stress does impact your body the same way that if you're in a happy, positive mindset, you will produce more of the dopamine and oxytocin and your nice hormones, which are then favorable conditions. So I've had clients before who, a bit like you, they didn't have periods, but they didn't necessarily have PCOS. They just didn't have periods for months.
Right.
Really stressed, hard jobs, really stressed. As soon as they started implementing some of the law of attraction kind of steps and that mindset stuff, period came back.
Yeah.
And you could say, yes, okay, but when you're in a positive mindset, you make better decisions, right? You'll get up, you'll probably sleep better. You'll wake up and you'll think, I've got energy today. I'm going to go for a walk and I'm going to have a good breakfast. I'm not just going to sit and eat crap and watch TV. You make better decisions, which will also, help your body out, and vice versa. But there's no denying that your thoughts and what you're putting into your brain and what you're feeding your brain will directly impact your body.
Absolutely. And the people that say like, ooh, that's not manifestation, you've just taken positive actions. I think, first of all, fuck you. We're after a result here. But also when I think back to my own journey, so I always think like when you open yourself up to manifestation and you're like, this is what I want, the universe will send you all of the shit that is actually going to make it happen for you. Mm-hmm. And as we know, like there's so many theories, there's so many books, there's so many things that you could listen to that could be pointless, that actually to get sent the stuff that will actually work for you is amazing. So I remember I started Googling and I was like, oh, if you have polycystic ovaries, you need a low GI diet. Like that is the best thing that you can do. It's all lifestyle. And so I was just determined, I don't know why, but I was like, I do not want to have fertility help. Like I don't need help. I can do it. Like I just was really like convinced. I was like, I can do this through nutrition. And I know you are a nutritionist. It'd be interesting to hear your take on it. But basically I just started doing this low GI diet. And I remember it said, like, from the minute you wake up in the morning, every single natural plant-based food that you can get into your body, just see it as like a little tick on your sheet. And I started to just make it my mission and taking that physical action, I think with the intention of like, this is boost every time I eat a piece of celery, every time I eat a carrot, this is boosting my fertility. Like that does something to you. And when I first got diagnosed with this, so I got diagnosed with polycystic ovaries actually a year or so before I actually had my daughter. And when I still wasn't having those periods or anything, my friend showed me a YouTube video, and people have asked me to find this. I cannot find it. But it was basically a visualization meditation that was like you visualize a certain part of your body. So I was visualizing the egg coming down, going into the womb, I was sorry, the man that's listening to this, but I was visualizing like having a period, and literally within like 5 days, I got my period back after over a year.
Mad.
And I've seen so many studies about people, cancer patients, if they visualize the chemotherapy attacking the cancer cells like piranha fish, there's something like a 40% or something higher rate of survival. So what would you recommend? Because I know you do subliminals as well. So many things here. I'm like, there's so many. But what would you recommend if someone is listening to this and they are struggling with their fertility? What are the first things you'd say to do?
I would say the first thing to do is separate your journey from who you are as a person. I think
Don't put IVF warrior in your fucking Instagram handle.
I am also,
that gets me.
I know. And it's really hard because I understand the kind of IVF club, infertility club, whatever you want to call it, is the club that no one signed up for, but it's a bloody lovely club. You know, everyone is supporting you. But equally, you're not infertile. I've got a real issue with the word infertile because I feel like that's such a definite word. It's such a like, that's it. You know, there's no coming back from that. I get why people use it, but I really struggle with it. I always try and say fertility journey. You're on a fertility journey, or there's a bit of a struggle there, but it's not that you're infertile.
Yeah.
So I think trying to separate the two, and then, like you said, visualize as much as possible. The subliminals, I recorded subliminals because I wanted subliminals for every single stage of my IVF journey.
I've seen them.
Yeah.
I've seen them and I'm like, they're amazing. There's one for embryo transfer.
Yeah.
There's one for the 2-week wait. There's one for everything.
Yeah.
I love that.
And I did it, and, you know, healing after loss, everything. And I've also got meditations for the whole IVF process. So to listen to those. When I went into the clinics, I had already visualized, he's going to tell me that everything is looking good and I've got a good number of follicles and everything's going great here. When I went in for the embryo transfer, I literally visualized, like you said, that embryo was transferring. I saw it going in my mind's eye. I saw it going into the perfect spot to attach there. I saw every single element of that journey in my mind's eye. So I knew it was going to happen. I knew it. I'd seen it in my head. And I had made sure that I'd cleared out my Instagram. I never had a separate page for my fertility journey because obviously it was a top secret. I made sure I cleared out pages that I didn't want to follow, things that I found low vibe, cleared them out. Because that's another thing. I think so many women rely on the social media groups, and some of them are great. But if you're trying to visualize a positive pregnancy test and then you open up social media and all you see is negative test, big fat negative, BFN, you're putting that image into your brain. And I think you're going against what you're trying to see, which is that positive test. It's such a tricky one, like you said. It's not as easy, and I don't want anyone to sit at home thinking it's not as easy as just manifest. It's not. Like, there's multiple elements, you know, and everything has to align. This is just a tool that will get you there, in my opinion, or at least lighten the load on the way there.
So something I think can be a little bit triggering for people or upsetting when I say this as well, and I know we just mentioned it briefly earlier, but when people put IVF warrior in their Instagram handle, like, I think that idea of associating yourself or identifying yourself with infertility, IVF, anything like that, it could be such a painful journey to be on. And I understand having the community there, but I think it's so important if you are listening to this and you're thinking, oh my God, that's sort of almost become like my identity now, because it is all encompassing. I would think anything that you can do to separate yourself from that, like you said, is so powerful. And as well, like, just not telling people. Like, I just felt like I just didn't want people to know, because then it just becomes so pressured, doesn't it? Like, separate yourself from that. So what would be your kind of daily rituals or affirmations if you were trying to get pregnant? And also, how would that differ if you were actually trying to keep a pregnancy? Because there's obviously a whole different subsection of people that struggle to keep pregnancies, and that in itself requires a whole mindset shift. Yeah. How do they differ?
So I think with trying to get pregnant, I think it's building up those habits, right? The things that you just wake up and naturally do so that they don't feel too like chores, right? So I would have my playlists that I would listen to in the car. Jason Mraz, gotta love a bit of Jason Mraz.
Gratitude. I love that song. I love it.
And I mean, it's not my genre of music, but I listen to it and I appreciate it. And
have you listened to his other songs? They're shit.
Oh no, I haven't.
They're shit. But yeah,
building up that kind of high vibe, start off the day on your high vibe, having a sign from the universe. So having something that when you see it, you're like, oh yes. And mine was 2 magpies. I'm very British, you know, salute, salute, salute.
Yes.
And if ever I saw 2 magpies, I'll be like, oh yes, it's going to be a great day. Thank you, universe, you know, and just constantly trying to say, thank you, universe. I think a big thing with fertility is just that kind of contact with your body, knowing your body. I would always have my hands on my belly always, no matter what stage in the month it was, trying to send that kind of warmth from your hands and that connection, and just knowing that you trust what your body is doing. Yeah. But yeah, there's so many affirmations that I used. I think something I try and tell people is to do the worry to wonder shift. So changing the way that you say, what if?
Give us an example.
So if people say, what if it's never going to happen? You just change it to, well, what if it is already happening and you just can't see it? And it's a really subtle, delicate change. So it's soft enough for the most cynical person to think, you're not jumping straight to, I am pregnant, or I am whatever.
Yeah.
But it's that little change. So when you have those wobbles in the day, you just think, hang on, I'm worrying now. Let me just wonder, what if it is all happening behind the scenes? What if my body is healing? What if everything is aligning? And it's that kind of just allowing yourself to gently do that shift.
Yeah.
And I mean, the same with pregnancy. I had a very challenging pregnancy. So I thought as soon as I got pregnant, that would be it. Very challenging pregnancy. The whole way through, I relied on my mindset the whole way. And again, I had to just keep telling myself, I trust the universe and I trust myself. I trust my body knows what to do. And you have to give up that control element.
Easier said than done.
Easier said than done, my God. But, learning what you can control, and what you can control are your thoughts, how you switch up your thoughts, how you reset that mindset, and how you react to things. So even when trying to get pregnant, when your period comes, of course you're going to feel like, oh, for fuck's sake, it hasn't happened again. Allow yourself to feel all of that, because I hate the whole, you've got to just be positive, you've got to be positive. Allow yourself to feel it, cry, be frustrated, be pissed off. But it's then about learning how to be like, do you know what? Okay, every cycle has a start and an end. That was the end of that one. We're now going into the start of a new one. My body's shedding everything that I no longer need, no longer serves me, and I'm moving into this with a fresh start. And it's that, it's learning how to just reframe every situation.
And also, maybe that particular egg was not meant to be your child.
Yeah.
Do you ever think that, like, if I'd got pregnant 1 month earlier or 1 month later, like, I'd have a completely different child?
I always think this, especially with IVF, when you've got, like, multiple kind of embryos, right?
Oh, my God, yeah.
And now I look at my daughter.
Who did you leave in the dish?
Yeah. Now I look at my daughter, I'm like, oh, my God, like, you was so worth the wait. I understand now why it was meant to be you, and not it wasn't meant to happen all the other months, because you are the exact person that we needed. And you would have been different if it was another embryo, or if I'm sure we'd still love them the same, but you understand why that little person is the one that came into your life. You really do.
It's wild. It's such a mind fuck. I look at them all the time and I just think, what if you were 1 month later? Would you be a boy called Bob? I don't know.
Bob.
I don't know.
No.
Would you be like a mental kid that would like murder me in my sleep? We don't know. No. We just don't know.
But thank you, universe, that it's not.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've got one called Laveau, who are named after the voodoo witch, the voodoo queen of New Orleans. So she was always going to be wild. I tell you, that kid has been to this earth many times before. She is the most empathetic, incredible soul. And I do look at her, I think, wow, like it so easily could have not been you. Like it so easily could have been any number. Anyway, could go on about that for days. But tell me about token items. Are you a big believer in like buying a token item? Did you buy a token item?
Yes. And I tell everyone to do this. And I say it's scary. It is scary. You feel...
Because we're told not to do it,
We're
right?
told you're going to jinx it.
Our parents are like, don't buy anything before 3 months.
I know.
Fuck
There's so much now that I'm like, you tell people your wish when you blow out your birthday candle.
Yes.
You spread that wish. There's so much that we're told, which is rubbish. But I remember saying to my partner, Francesca Amber's told me I need to go and buy a token item. We're going to Marks and Spencer's. He knows what I'm like. He gets on board with it all. He might have thought this is mad, but we went and we chose the tiniest baby grow, because I think you've got to get the cutest little small thing. Yeah. Tiniest baby grow. And I remember taking a picture of it on my sofa, sent it to Emma, and she replied, can't wait to see the little red legs, the little newborn red legs that they have. I can't wait to see the little baby wearing that.
I need to meet Emma.
Oh, she's fantastic.
Emma's a fucking vibe.
She is.
She is supportive in ways that other people are not.
This is what I want to be an Emma for everyone, because not everyone has someone on that same wavelength who knows what to say in your moment of weakness.
There are friends that if you'd sent them that would have said, don't get your hopes up.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't jinx it. Yeah. Why did you buy something for a girl? Don't do that.
Exactly.
You're going to let yourself down.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Come on, Emma.
Exactly.
Get in the car. We're going to the bar.
But so token item, 100%.
What did you buy? Tell me what it looked like.
Tiny little baby grow. Just white, very simple, classic little baby grow. And I did put my daughter in it when she was born. And it was that kind of like full circle moment of just, oh my God. And again, as soon as I found out I was pregnant, I went on the next sale. I spent about £500 on baby clothes. I bought, of which maybe £50 was boy items, because I did have a second of doubt it might be a boy.
No.
It wasn't.
Never doubt.
No, I shouldn't have doubted. But I bought all of the stuff. I was like, this is going to happen. You know, it's going to happen. But yes, having the token item, seeing it next to you, either on your bedside table where you see it when you wake up and you go to sleep, or if you've already got a nursery in your house, which is going to be the nursery, hanging it in there. So when you open the door...
Hanging it up. Yeah. Very powerful.
Very powerful.
Actually getting it out and being like, it's coming, it's getting ready.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a fun fact, right? So I bought a little baby grow for my first daughter, Bohemia, and it had little bows all over it. But I genuinely bought that when I was like 21. I saw it in the sale in Tesco. I think my sister must have been having a baby or something. It was when I was like very much younger. Yeah. And I saw it and I was like, oh my God, I'd always wanted a baby called Bo, and it had bows on it, so I bought it. But when I was manifesting her gender, I went to Oxford Street, bought a little Brodie Anglaise white dress. So far, so good, right? This token item shit's really working out for you, Fran. What great news. When I wanted to have a second baby, a daughter for my sister, that'd be weird, for my other daughter. No, wait, a sister for my daughter. You know what I mean. I saw this cute little onesie in Primark. It was nothing fancy, but it was grey leopard print. And I was just like, oh my God. It was in a twin pack.
Oh, wow.
That shit was in a twin pack. Now, I bought the twin pack, I hung up the leopard print one and I hung it in my dressing room. The other one, I don't know what I did with it. I don't think I threw it away, but I kept it, and I had fucking twins. What do you make of that?
I mean, incredible.
Isn't that crazy?
Incredible.
And I didn't realise until several months later when I started like getting all the clothes ready, I was like, oh my God, my token item was a twin pack. So anyone listening, beware.
Beware.
Do not buy a 5-pack. Or a twin pack of nothing, unless you want twins. There's a lot of people that say, I'm trying to manifest twins. I'm like, why?
I know.
Why?
Be careful. I know.
Honestly, the most horrendous, traumatizing experience of my life. However, now they're 5, incredible.
Yeah.
They play together all the time. It's amazing. But, anyway, I don't want to go back over that trauma. So we've talked about token items. What about as well clearing space? I'm a big believer in decluttering, making space for this baby. Even if people might think what I'm decluttering is not directly affecting my baby. Why would you want to clear out your garage? But it's doing something physical with your body, like physically getting rid of things with that intention of like, when this baby arrives, when I'm pregnant, I won't be able to do this. When the baby arrives, I won't have time. Let me clear out this garage. Let me sweep my driveway. Let me sort out my spare room and make it into a nursery. Do you recommend people do that?
Yes, all the time. It's that nesting before you're actually nesting,
yes.
Right? You're cleansing out the space. We did the same. So we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. The second room was our wardrobe space. It was just full of wardrobes and stuff everywhere. And we had to clear it out. I said to my partner, and he at the time thought it's just a waste because that space is there and we need to use it. Whereas in my head, I was like, we can still have organised stuff in here, but I need the small built-in wardrobe has to be empty because that is the baby's wardrobe. And I need the universe to know we are ready, because until it sees that you're ready, I truly believe that there will be more delays and blocks.
Yeah.
So 100% clearing out the space.
And also clearing out your life a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I feel like so many people are like, I'm so busy. And it's like, if you keep saying to the universe, I'm so busy, I don't have time, it's not going to allow something to come in unless there's space there. And I think that can be difficult to create space in your life when there's nothing to fill it yet.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I think it's quite important. What do you think about, there are so many people that suffer from, what's it called? Not involuntary. It's all involuntary. Unexplained infertility, because there's so many people that there's nothing medically wrong. I went on a hen party a couple of years ago, and there was a lady on that hen party who was suffering from completely undiagnosed infertility. It'd been going on for years. She didn't know why. And when we started talking, she was like, when I was growing up, my parents were both, I think they were alcoholics, maybe drug addicts, very abusive. And she had a lot of younger siblings. And as the oldest child, she ended up having to care for her younger siblings. And as she was saying this, I just thought, this is obvious to me. Like, you've spent a lot of your youth caring for others. And maybe it's your body now resisting going back to that place. Because to me, that seems like an obvious link, right? Is that something you see a lot of?
Yeah, and I truly don't think there's such thing as unexplained fertility. I think the doctors or whoever haven't dug deep enough to find a reason. I don't like the unexplained infertility. There has to be a reason.
Just mindset.
It could be,
blocking themselves.
And it definitely could be. It definitely could be. And I think that's really hard to hear, though, because life is multifactorial, right? If that's the word. So I don't believe that a woman who hasn't yet had a baby has made that happen from her thoughts. But I do think things just haven't fully aligned. I think there is a bridge between the mind and your body. So one of those maybe is out of kind of balance. But I don't think there's such thing as unexplained. I think there's always a reason. It just hasn't been discovered yet. And unfortunately, you have to pay for those answers most of the time, because the NHS will take you to a certain point and then that's it. And then you're paying big money, big money. And over here in the UK, I don't think we don't have as many tests as you can get done in other places around the world. So I would always be trying to push for more answers, but definitely still be looking at your mindset. 100%.
Definitely. So one thing that I know that you're quite passionate about is not taking people's unsolicited or fear-based comments about your pregnancy or lack of pregnancy or whatever it might be. So what is your advice to people to kind of protect their own energy when they're in this space?
It's the hardest thing. That is the hardest thing to battle. When you are trying to attract or manifest anything else in life, you don't face the same outside opinions. You know, if you're manifesting money, you won't go for lunch with your friends and they say to you, when are you going to stop being broke? You know, they won't do. We'd hope they wouldn't.
Fucking bitch.
Can you imagine?
Get off my back, Susan.
Yeah. But the chances
right,
of someone saying to you, so when are you going to have a baby? Do you want a baby? So what's going on? Are you trying? You know, people have an opinion, or even if they're not physically saying something, they're looking. Are you drinking? Do you look like you got a bump? You know, they're looking for signs. I had people talking about my fertility before we were even trying. I had a crazy lady at work go around telling everyone I had a miscarriage.
What?
And in my head, I was thinking, why are you talking about my fertility? You're already creating this issue out there. So you're adding to my limiting beliefs, because I've now got to try and combat people looking at me. I hate it.
Did you take her to HR?
Let's just say she was HR. We'll leave it there. She was HR. Yes.
Lord above.
I know. So that was really tough for me. And that was a big reason why I thought, I'm not telling anyone. Because if you've already all got opinions and formed opinions, it was just, I'm not even married. I think when you're married, it's even harder, because people are still thinking, get married, have a baby straight away.
From the wedding day, people are like, when are you going to have a baby? You're going to try tonight. And
but I have it now. When are you going to have a second? And people know my journey, and they're acting as though I can just pluck a second child off of a tree.
Right.
And they're all asked, when are you going to have a second? So what are you going to do about a second? And I know people probably mean well. I can't bear it. Stop asking people about their fertility. We don't ask men. So why are we constantly asking women? I think you have to form that protective bubble around yourself. If you know there's people who are going to be asking you things or going to be lowering your vibe, stay away from them. Or you say to someone, if you're going to a family event, say to someone, I'm going to give you a cue, and that means I need to get out of here. If I wink at you or whatever, you pull me away because I'm feeling uncomfortable because I'm getting asked questions. Have your kind of safety blankets.
Yeah.
And just have the people who are constantly gassing you up in your life. Have the people who are... Have Emma. Emma is not available.
She can charge per hour. We can loan her out to everybody. Do you know what? I have to say, I'm 40 now, but in my 20s, when me and my friends, or 30s really, when we were all having babies, I've got to say, I was guilty of that. I did used to be one of those people. It was so normalised to say, like, so when are you going to have a baby then? Like, you're able to just go to Argos and just fucking click, yes, please.
I know.
Argos, what year am I in? Amazon? I don't know. Is Argos even still a thing? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I love it.
I miss Argos.
So do I.
The
catalogue.
Oh, Christmas. I know. Open it up.
And
what
you know,
am I having?
I can't remember who said it at Manifest, but someone said the secret is basically the Argos catalogue for adults, because you can just choose what you want from the universe, and it's fantastic.
It is. You can have whatever you like. You've just got to know what it is and want it badly enough. But yeah, I was one of those toxic bitches. I was definitely someone who did say to my friends, like, well, are you going to have another one? Are you going to do this? Are you gonna, and I'm sorry to any of those that
no, but
I did,
and I think until you then are getting that question constantly, or you're anticipating that question constantly, you don't appreciate it. But there's people who have potentially just had a miscarriage that day, and someone's asking them that. There's people who have been told that, I don't know, they've got something serious that they need to work on. You never know. And I just think it's one of those things that also we live in 2025. Loads of women don't want kids. And that's fine. And they also shouldn't be questioned for their decision that they just have chosen not to have kids.
Yeah.
You know, I just think it's such an old school thing. And it always comes from a good place. I know it does. So it's not about, you know, oh, you bitch. But it's also just being wary of what we're asking people.
Yeah.
And when you're the one facing those questions, you need to just learn a resilient... Or what I tend to always say to people if they ask me is I'll just say, well, thanks for the concern, but... You know, if it happens, it happens. But thanks for the concern. Because I kind of leave them with that little...
Do you know, I'm just thinking if I could go back in time, and because I did used to get really stressed out about this, it's like I didn't want people to ask me, just fuck off and leave me alone. Yeah. And I feel like as soon as there's even a little seed of it, as soon as anyone knows that you're trying, I almost in my mind instantly transform into a hunchback 50-year-old barren woman that's like everyone feels sorry for. Like it's so weird what it does to your mind. And I was so determined to not have that. I feel like if I could go back in time, I would actually say to people, guess what? I've got a really exciting project coming up next year. I'm going to choose something you can't do with a baby. I'm going to go skydiving in Australia. Maybe something bigger than that. I don't know. But I would be like, actually, no. Like if people directly ask me, I'd be like, actually, no. Do you know what? I'm actually not trying for a baby right now because I've got this really exciting project. It's probably going to come to fruition in about a year, working on it, really excited because that would just shut people up straight away. And then it takes that whole pressure off yourself. But then in a year's time, if they're like, so when are you going to Australia? No.
Yeah.
I'm not
Change
actually.
Take
it all back. I have a memory that just came up while we were talking of one of my friends who had been trying for a baby for a while. And I remember her saying, oh yeah, my husband said if we don't get pregnant next month, that's it. We're not going to try anymore. We're going to go on holiday. And then that's it. And I remember thinking, that's wild.
I know.
Have you heard of that? Of anyone just saying, right, if you don't get pregnant? Because that would put so much pressure on me.
There's people who I follow or I've seen on Instagram who, their partners have said to them, that's it. And so and sometimes it's financial. And okay, you know, there's a certain point that people can get to of how much they can pay per cycle. But that pressure that other people put on you and your body, and also that is why women are the ones who have the limiting beliefs around falling pregnant. We carry that burden. We carry that guilt. When I had my embryo transfer and then a week later I had what I thought was a period, I thought I just lost, it hadn't happened on my birthday. So that was a great birthday. I remember crying my eyes out and just apologising to my partner and being like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And he is great. So he obviously said, stop saying sorry. And then I thought, do you know what? No, I haven't had the evidence that it's actually not happened. I'm going to try and stay positive. But we are the ones apologising. We have that guilt. We carry that burden of, I haven't given my mother-in-law a grandchild, or I haven't given my partner a baby. I haven't done this. It's just constant heavy weight on you. And that's why I wish everyone came into this law of attraction thing with open arms. I really, really, because it changes everything. That heavy load just becomes so much lighter. It really does.
Anyone that's listening to this and thinking, this is bullshit. How dare you? I've been through IVF. I've done this. I've done that. How dare you say it's my mindset? I just want to remind you all of not an epidemic. What's the thing? A phenomenon. Can't say the word phenomenon. That happens more times than you would care to imagine, but is immortalised by Caprice. What a woman. Is the phenomenon of many, many women resorting to, well, I hate to say resorting to, but ending up going for surrogacy or adoption after years and years of trying. And what happens? As soon as they have their surrogate pregnant or they go through the adoption process, they get fucking pregnant.
Yeah.
Look at Caprice. She's got literal twins that are not twins because she got pregnant.
Yeah.
So it's like your body releasing that expectation, but also that feeling of, oh my God, the baby's coming. Like the surrogate's pregnant. The adoption is going through. We're having a baby.
Yeah.
And your body believes it and follows through. And then boom, you've got twins, bitch. I'd love to know, do you know any facts on like how many people go through it? It's so common. Or people have IVF and then have a second one.
So many people have IVF and then have a second one naturally. Yeah. So many people. And actually people kept saying that to me, like, oh, be careful, be careful. So many people do. And I think it is that just surrendering. You've let go. That tense control, what you've been trying to hold on to, you have let go of it. For some people, this is a magic wand, right? You will put all of this into place. You will listen to this podcast. You'll go and you'll do all of these things. And next month you'll be pregnant. 100% that happens to people.
I'm so happy for you guys.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Please DM us and tell us when
Yes,
that happens.
please do. But for some people like me, even though I was doing everything, it still took me, I still needed science to help me out. I still needed IVF, and it still took me a year and a bit to get there.
Yeah.
But the key to this is it was a tool that I used to help me get there. And I truly believe if I didn't have that, I wouldn't have got there with the first round at least. I have clients sometimes who say to me, right, I've got my embryo transfer next week. I know it's not going to work. And I am like,
What?
oh my God, why? Why are you saying that? Why are you putting that out there? Because you're already asking the universe for it to not work. And it is, and 9 out of 10 times it doesn't work when they say that.
Of course.
And when they come to me and they say, I know with every cell in my body it's going to work. I know it's going to work for them. I'm like, oh my God, I can sit back easy. I love this for you. And it's just the full embodiment. The people who have the surrogates, they know that there's a baby out there. They're envisioning that baby. But you can do that before even knowing that there's a surrogate. I envisioned all the time myself with my pregnancy, you know, my bump, the pushchair I wanted. Any opportunity I got to push a pushchair for someone else, I pushed it. I was testing it. Do I want an eye candy? Do I want a bugaboo? What do I want? You know, I was doing it as if I was buying it for myself, embodying it like it was happening right this second.
I think that whole embodying it and also having the identity of like, I am a mother. Like I remember when I got pregnant with the twins, I was so desperate for them to be girls that I remember doing specific visualizations. And I don't know why, because none of them really do dancing actually, but it was the only thing I could kind of like relate it to is I imagined being at a dancing show and they were like, oh, Bohemia, it's your turn. And then they were like, Riva, Laveau. And I was like, these girl names, well, actually, fun fact, they were nearly called Peaches and Primrose.
Oh,
I mean,
lovely though.
is it?
Well, it is.
Is it? I don't know. I do love it, but I think, God, what a different life that would have been. But I would like visualize these girls' names being called and me having like all these little girls in this dancing show.
Yeah.
And that almost like enabled me to like embody being this like mum of multiple girls. And like I felt it and I saw it. And also I feel like in pregnancy, sometimes there's a lot of like uncertainties where it feels certain. So for example, my ex-husband, as I said, was very like data driven, wanted to make sure everything was like right. And when I got pregnant, so as I was saying, I was listening to that Mariah Carey song. I was like, I'm going to tell people I'm having this baby at Christmas. And in that December, or maybe it's November, I don't know, I went to Australia for a week on my own with my friend. And my ex-husband was like, you need to take a pregnancy test before you go, just because you're going to be drinking and stuff, just like make sure. Took a pregnancy test. I was not pregnant. Went there, drank a bottle of vodka, nearly drowned in the sea, went on 10 roller coasters, went on a jet ski, genuinely nearly died, like feared for my life. And when I came back, I'd been pregnant the whole time.
Yeah.
So like, you know, sometimes when you're like, well, no, I've seen that false test, like I'm definitely not. They're not always, it's not always right. And even with the twins, like obviously getting a Harmony fucking DNA test and being told you're having boys.
Yeah.
They weren't boys. Spoiler alert, they were not boys. So do you have any kind of like, I don't even know my question, but like anything like that where people are like, no, it's a given. It's this.
Yeah. And I always say to all my clients and any friends, anyone I know, please do not do a pregnancy test before you're supposed to.
Oh, yeah, because then you're just looking at it.
Exactly.
Oh.
And you've got that. So I always tell everyone I did it. Change the background on your phone or WhatsApp. I did it on WhatsApp because firstly I did it on my phone and then I was always terrified someone was going to pick up my phone and just see this positive pregnancy test thing.
That's wild.
Yeah. So I just did WhatsApp. So I had
What was your WhatsApp profile picture?
No, your background on WhatsApp.
How the fuck do you change your background on your WhatsApp?
You haven't. So what's yours? Just that little green weird thing?
It's like a weird little, I'll show
the
you
squiggly
later.
thing. Yeah. No, you can change it.
Okay.
So an individual conversation. So you can have one with, you know, one person as a background. Yes. So changing the background, and I made it the clear blue digital 2 to 3 weeks. So I thought I had glasses on. To do that. Every time so whenever I bought a pregnancy test, I would only ever buy a clear blue digital.
Nice.
Because I thought, no, that's got to match up to what I've been seeing. And it's so tempting when you're in that 2-week wait after IVF because you know this time you are technically pregnant because you've got an embryo inside you.
Right, you are?
You are because you've got the embryo.
But it's just whether it stays.
Whether it's stuck,
okay.
Yeah. So it's so tempting. And they say not to do it too early because the drugs could sometimes give you a false positive.
Right.
But I also was like, if I do this and it shows it's negative, I'm going to just go down right now and I'm going to be in a downer and that's it. But actually
Yeah.
it could be positive. I need to keep that image in my head as long as possible that it's positive. And I remember sending a picture to you know who, Emma.
My new best friend.
Oh, no.
She doesn't know it yet, but
No,
she is.
oh, she's going to be over the moon. I sent a picture of my clear blue test saying 2 to 3 weeks, and the background was that 2 to 3 weeks, and I went, fuck, manifestation's real. And you know when you're like, oh my God, and I say it to everyone, please don't do a test until you're meant to. Keep that image in your head, which goes back to the point of on Instagram, be careful what you're seeing. You don't want constant negative tests popping up on your feed. Because you're not feeding your brain that. You want to feed your brain the positive, positive, positive.
It's kind of going back to what we were saying about our parents were always like, don't tell anyone before 3 months. Don't buy anything.
Yeah.
Don't jinx yourself. And I feel like we need to almost flip that and be like, prepare for this baby to come. Buy your token item. Get excited. Prepare yourself for it. Like prepare your body with your nutrition, your health, everything. But also, do you know what? It's so interesting. Like, you're taking stuff in on Instagram or social media and you don't even know it. So I thought I had a very original idea the other day. Actually, I don't even know. I don't want to tell people, but I will tell people. I'm going on tour. I'm going on a book tour. And I was thinking of like fun outfits to do for each one.
Mm-hmm.
Like to my book announcement, I wore a t-shirt that said MILF.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I'm going for. Do you know what I mean? So I wanted to get a football shirt, right? Bear with me. Right. It's going to be cool. It's a vintage one, I think. I don't really know what's happening. So anyway, I said to my friend Polly, oh my God, I'm really excited. I've bought this football shirt for like this particular place I'm going. But how would you like style it? I'm thinking with like maybe like a short skirt. Like I think it would look really cool. And she was like, yeah, Fran, you literally liked my reel of where I was wearing a football shirt tucked into a short skirt the other day. That's how I would style it. And I was like, how interesting. My mind subconsciously picked up that she was wearing that outfit. And then I convinced myself that I had thought of the good idea of buying a vintage football shirt. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. And so if you are seeing every day, another negative test, I'm a IVF bitch, like you are taking that in. Yeah. I think as painful as it can be to see what you want being played out for you, like it is important, isn't it, to immerse ourselves in that.
Yeah, and I think that's where that like the neuroplasticity comes into play as well. You can rewire what you are wanting to see because the universe will show you what it thinks you want to see. So if you're in this low place and you're thinking, oh, it's never going to happen for me, the universe is going to keep giving you evidence that it's not going to happen for you. When you switch that up and you rewire and you're like, it is going to happen for me, and there are people who have been in my exact situation and it's happened for them, you will start seeing that highlighted to you. Yeah. And I made sure when I had, I was about 11 weeks pregnant and I'd been bleeding up until, so obviously I said on my birthday I started bleeding. That bleeding didn't stop, but it was quite light. And then on the 1st of December, I literally hemorrhaged in Hammersmith, about to go to a comedy show at the Apollo, hemorrhaged. And
that's enough to send you into a panic with your mindset.
That was horrendous. And I got back into the car and said to my partner, take me to the hospital now. We've got to go to the hospital. And I called my mum and I'd said, you need to. So I had to tell some people before my Christmas reveal because of the bleeding and everything. So my mum came to meet us at the hospital. And I always go by, you always see when people have IVF, they'll say they're PUPO, which is pregnant until proven otherwise. Because you are technically, so there'll always be a hashtag PUPO.
Pregnant until proven otherwise. So what, that you haven't had a scan yet?
No, and because you've had the embryo put in you, it's that thought that you are pregnant until you've done that test and if it tells you otherwise.
Okay.
I flipped that and made it positive until proven otherwise. And I live by that. And that is have I had proof that it's not happened? Yes, I'm bleeding a hell of a lot. I just
understood what you said then. Oh, we could use that in all
everything,
walks of life. Wow.
Everything. And I'm like, yes, I'm bleeding a hell of a lot, but I've also seen this happen to other women. And so I straight away said to my mum and my partner, you need to send me, I'm not going on to Google now and Googling this. I need you to go and find positive stories and send them to me now. Because I don't want to see
that.
Yeah, because I don't want to see what could be out there. And people are always very easy to share negative opinions. It's like a review. You're more likely to leave a negative than a positive. I don't want to see that. I need the positive stories.
Yeah.
And we are oversharers in the fertility world. So people do put pictures up of their blood loss and a clot and whatever. But that helped me because I thought, that's what mine looks like.
Yeah.
And it all obviously was fine. Everything was fine. But I question sometimes if I didn't do that and if I went straight into this is a miscarriage, and I was really, and don't forget me wrong, I was crying and I was upset. Would it would I have got the happy ending that I did? I don't know, because I do truly believe in the power of our thoughts.
Yeah.
And it's like when someone lives for years and years with cancer in their body, don't know they've got cancer. As soon as they get the diagnosis, they die really shortly after. And I think, but you did a marathon last month.
Yeah.
You were fine. But now you've got the news, your mindset has gone into that doom and gloom. It's exactly the same with everything. But yeah, poo-po. Positive until proven otherwise with everything.
I think that is such a boss bitch move that you, in that moment, was like, send me positive stories.
Yeah.
Like, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Everyone should remember that and use it at all times.
Yes.
So thank you so much for coming today. If anyone wants to work with you, what do they do? Where do they find you? And what do you offer apart from your amazing subliminals?
Apart from the amazing subliminals, I'm on Instagram. I mean, I need to get better on Instagram, but I'm on Instagram, manifestingbaby.co.uk, same as my website name. I do one-to-ones, I do coaching packages, I do online programs. I do WhatsApp support. So some of my clients literally just use me on WhatsApp and they message me saying, I'm having a meltdown. I don't know how to handle this. And I will just be that Emma for people. I'll be that positive person.
You need to recruit Emma.
I need to get Emma on my PR team.
You do. Need to get her running the show.
I know. But I feel blessed that I had someone like that, because some people are doing this as a solo mum. Yeah. Some people are using sperm donor, or, you know, men might be using a sperm. You don't know. And they literally have no one. And I love being able to be that person for people.
What job satisfaction you have.
You can't imagine the job satisfaction.
Has anyone named their baby after you yet?
No, but I don't really want anyone to call me Tanya, to be honest. I call their baby Tanya. I'm like, maybe something beginning with a T. Just do the T. Ferrari. Yeah, you can use the Ferrari. Lamborghini, Mercedes, Porsche. We'll go along those lines. But yeah, I love it. There's nothing better than getting a message from someone saying, I'm pregnant, or your subliminals got me through, or that session we did changed everything. That for me is just, everything.
I have quite a few messages of people saying, oh my God, I've become pregnant since listening to your podcast. And I'm always waiting. When's your baby going to be called Francesca? There's a dog. Someone named their dog after me.
I would have, but my auntie, also my best friend, is called Francesca. I am thinking if there is a second baby, I might put it as a middle name.
Thank you.
As a homage to you and my auntie.
Can it be the full Francesca Amber?
Yes, or Amber. Exactly.
Amber, there you go. You've got options.
Got options.
Do you know what else I love as well? Is that you put, this is a genius hack more people should do, manifestingbaby.co.uk in your Instagram bio. And it was only because of that, I was like, before this episode, I need to like research you a little bit. And I knew your website name. Yeah. More people should do that. Put .co.uk
just make
or
it
.com
simple. Exactly. There's too much.
In your Instagram bio. Like, what a hack. Yeah. Loving that for you.
Thank you.
So, yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. I hope this episode has been useful and informative and valuable for people. And I hope that if you do feel triggered by this, because there are people that will, right? There are people. Go and look at Caprice. Just look at Caprice's story and know that, no, mindset is not always going to absolutely shift everything. There are people that have, you know, real fertility issues that cannot be overcome by mindset. Mm-hmm. People born without a womb.
I know.
My friend had that, or she had 2 wombs. I don't remember. Anyway, but if you do have this unexplained infertility, if things are taking longer than you expect, which I think happens to a lot of people, we expect it just to be instant. I remember my friend always saying, I'm going to get pregnant the night I get married. And I never said anything because I just thought, cool, okay. And then sure enough, IVF.
Yeah.
It's just people don't get it today.
No.
And we're having babies older than ever.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it. We're going to go now. Thank you so much. The law of attraction has changed my life. It's going to change yours too, bitch. Bye.